Hello and welcome to the second Eisen Index public debate. This debate is to ascertain the qualitative traits of several Hearthlander cultural pillars. This debate is sponsored by the Hainite Council Commission on Index Debate, a for-profit, heavily politicized organization of which I'm a member. The debate will last however long I feel like and cover an assortment of topics outlined by our two debaters, who are returning and who I will now introduce. First, returning guest Sarfnic, and second, returning guest Warcries. We will now review the rules and format of this debate. The first debater, chosen randomly, will select a topic to be indexed from any category. The literal god presiding, yours truly, will grant a preliminary rating on each relevant category before passing final judgment. The opposition will be allowed a chance to rebuttal, and the nominator will be allowed a brief response and attempt to change the ruling of the literal god. Tonight we have a new category to index known as musical categories, which will be ranked in order of importance by lyrical significance, if applicable, melodic significance, personal resonance to the literal god presiding, yours truly, originality, genre, and artist approval. We'll now begin by flipping the coin to determine our first debater. Warcries will be heads, Sarfnic will be tails, lucky trump coin.
As always.
Tails, Sarfnic will be our first choice.
Okay, so, well, you just said what it was. Sarfnic will be our first choice.
Sarfnic elects to review himself. Please give me a moment while I set the stage. Okay. Sarfnic's relevance to the literal god, as any highfalutin member of Hearthland society will know. I bicker with Sard constantly, so he is a great person of relevance to me. He's made a very fitting tune bag for my political ideologies over the years. He's a good sounding board for memes. Sarfnic's relevance to the literal god, and oh my god, I just pulled a Warcries. The philosophical merit of Sard leaves much to be desired. He has a curious fixation on a particular celestial body, of which I am eternally jealous, the moon, naturally, notwithstanding. The strange thing is, he seems not to want to place any philosophical emphasis on the moon these days, but would rather simp for a few specific YouTubers. The philosophical merit of Sarfnic has declined drastically in recent times, and it is for this reason that I must give the philosophical merit of the Sard a C. National merit of Sarfnic. Perhaps less of a disimprovement from where we were at with philosophical merit. The rational merit, however, of Sarfnic has increased drastically over time. However, while he may now make the correct decisions, the rationale which he uses to make the correct decisions can be a little sus sometimes, if I'm to use gamer tax in here. Give the rational merit of Sarfnic, considering where he hails from, we'll give him a C. Mimetic potential of Sarfnic is probably, perhaps where he shines the strongest.
Are probably going to K you.
The mimetic potential over the years with Sarfnic, it's like a fine wine. It must be aged, and he has aged it to perfection. See, the Lorax is cringe. It's cringe for the reasons that we discussed, and because Sarfnic was so obsessed with it. However, he has successfully managed to meme it into Hearth Canon, for instance. And my own personal writing ability notwithstanding, many other great memes, such as the Kybe Lemon Grab ship, has been promulgated by Sard. He has gotten himself into countless memeable situations in Among Us and in every war he declares on me.
Among Us funny moments too, coming soon, by the way.
Correct, please, Christ, hurry it up. The mimetic potential of Sarfnic. Not that.
What was that?
Mimetic potential of Sarfnic is a
I beat Warcries!
Personal approval.
Warcries! In one subject.
Okay, I've been giving Sarfnic a bit of a cushion on these last round. My personal approval of Sarfnic, perhaps greater than a year and a half ago, would have been a downright cringe. I believed him to be a critically cringe individual. However, He has been red-pilled recently, so my personal approval will obviously increase thereabouts. The fact that he continually allows his chat log to be saturated with simping for Dream and Keemstar, however, is a major turnoff. It's
I'm
better than normal. We're going to
that
give the personal approval of Sarfnic a C. All right, Sarfnic, you nominated Warcries. What do you think I should change here?
I don't really want to change anything, but I just want to mention something. Can I just talk about the? Wait, fuck! I'm forgetting. I'm mentally retarded.
I feel like this is negative, so I hope
Brad.
it fits.
Okay, Pog. Surf, go first because I need to remember this.
I want to
Guys,
mention the personal approval. You mentioned Dream and Keemstar. This Keemstar individual interests me. I have never simped for such a man. Dream, on the other hand, I see that I sometimes simp him, but he's a literal god. How is he like? You bow before gods. Am I not wrong? You bow before gods.
Oh,
You
God.
gotta bow before a literal
I can accept that excuse with Dream, but not with Keemstar.
Keemstar, like, I barely watch Drama Alert. I just like his Twitter politics because he spits facts, alright?
Twitter
And he's
politics
kind of funny.
is the shallower version
amount
of
of-
turning
Like,
USA without a.
he's one of the few people who gets into more dramas than I do. Like, Keemstar, believe it or not, actually got into a drama with Dream.
Of course he did.
Real-
Keemstar's been in a drama with everyone.
He's-
That's how he
that's-
feeds.
A6D, there was... Like, there's so much I can't even name. Jake Paul, which I actually give him tons of credit for.
Bring up the H3H3 situation either.
H3 was the only one. I think that was Keemstar's worst one, actually. Leafy may add way back. in 2016.
H3 on bottom.
I do not see the correct term. Simp does not describe my relationship with Keemstar. It's
Okay.
and I'm
Now
actually kind of
defend
hilarious
yourself.
that you didn't mention
Run.
Mr. Beast. I literally got Mr. Beast merch today.
Yes,
And you didn't.
that is. I was keeping that in my back pocket so I can replace you if you somehow manage to argue your way out of the Keemstar.
And again,
one.
I don't even watch
Thank you
Mr.
for
Beast
bringing
that
that
often.
up.
Like, I watched him today, but I have like a bunch of it.
Buy a shirt that costs you more than Baldur's Gate 3 early access would have.
Well, you know, you gotta get them.
You know what, Sarfnic? I think I've heard enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and. I just want to mention. Yeah, I agree. I'm moving that down after that discussion. But I just want to mention here.
It's
We have
bad.
the rational merit at a C. Can we just talk about the private or property ownership?
Yes. A issue on which
Sarfnic
you-
wishes to debate Warcries on this.
Okay, on
Sar-
personal property.
Sarfnic disagrees with everything he said many months ago. Okay? There you go.
Okay.
But the fact
Okay,
that you
this
said
is
it
a perfectly fine thing, and the fact that Sard is willing to acknowledge this may well be enough to bring my personal approval up from a D to a C if he keeps it up. We have half a minute remaining. Sard, continue.
So, I would like to say yes, the Sard has made some mistakes in the past, yes. But the Sard has learned from these and become even better than he was before. Believe it or not, sometimes you have to make mistakes. It forms things in your brain. There's brain wires or whatever that become stronger when they realize that certain things are wrong.
What? What the fuck?
And
I'm gonna cut you off right there before you start trying to lecture me on neurosci. Just take this C and be grateful.
okay,
take anymore! I just want to die!
Okay. The overall rating of Sarfnic, as with all of these, well, we'll give the main potential is going to keep you around for, and you're very
an
relevant.
A or S minus probably. Oh wait, I was unmuted. Shit. I was unmuted for a sec.
This is fine.
What?
Yes. There you go.
Okay.
right.
Warcry, please select your next topic to be indexed.
Here, let me just give me a moment of
Alright.
consideration.
So Wars in the
I'll do the
game.
Hearth Wars.
Hearth Wars.
Well, I gotta put Everneth on this. Actually.
Okay.
That'd be hilarious.
Does this include, for confirmation, first, the conflict in Season 4, second, the Great TWD War?
No,
Is
I'm
that-
just talking. I'm gonna amend this because I'd like to go in
SP,
order so that we do the hard source
Okay.
later. I'll do the Everneth War.
The Everneth Season 6 War
The one that
between the
Warcries
Kingdom of
excluded from.
Ethia and the Cult of Nyx, or the Brotherhood of Nyx.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting. It's a historical event, our first historical event nomination. Please give me a moment to set the stage.
I have some plans on what I'm gonna do next. I'm probably gonna do Over the Garden Wall next. Just gonna shift it a bit because all of you guys have watched it. I forced Warcries to watch it. Aramus watched it in his own time, probably a long time ago actually. I was hoping to have him rate Everneth as an establishment. That'll probably be later, even during the next one. So we'll see.
Okay. Warcry has nominated the Everneth Season 6 War between the Brotherhood of Nyx and the Kingdom of Ethia and all aligned powers.
I mean, sorry, I like.
Okay, this was a cataclysmically hilarious moment in Big Hearth 3 history. For those who are not aware, please go and watch the Everneth Season 6 earliest and latest episodes in Sarfnic's channel, of which he is streaming this. It's
They will
quite
be
a
on
good
your
series because you see me a lot in it. The relevance to the literal god of this is obviously a keck. The reason this was a keck is because I constantly replay this. It was fantastic. This is a historical event of catastrophically huge relevance, and there was a particular battle in here in which I proved myself to be the literal god in front of many austere onlookers. The philosophical merit of the war between the Brotherhood of Nyx and the Kingdom of Ethia. I'm going to be real. Early on, this would have been a cringe. The reason that it would have been a cringe is in order to understand this, you have to understand the actual battle lines. So on Everneth, which is a Minecraft survival multiplayer server, a episodic sort of seasonal Minecraft server, a fairly popular one that we've gone to in times past, there were a couple of factions that formed off at the beginning. Sarfnic formed what came to be known as the Kingdom of Ethia, and he and I were not on good terms at the time. Krat, Warcries, and myself, along with a few others that would later join, formed the Brotherhood of Nyx. And one day, even though we'd had our little spats, our little jibber-jabbers in the Everneth general Discord and whatnot, we were getting into some trade wars. War and I had been working very hard on this server. One day, one soul known as H.G. Wix from the Kingdom of Ethia, Sarfnic's team, comes to our base and puts a sign there saying that we declare war on you. This is not good philosophical
Aramus.
merit to start a war.
May I add? This
Yes.
probably has nothing to do with the rating, but it has to do with the story. Warcries had just left for a vacation the day before this
So
event
mad that happened.
occurred. And then,
I am
for extra
so
context,
mad.
Warcries came back the day after the war ended, just saying, you know, so he was
I
gone
was
the entire
also
war.
deathly sick and had to do nothing on that vacation.
So,
It's hilarious as hell.
Sarfnic's team declares war on what is effectively just me at the time. And of course, Warcries and I are rather progressed. These guys don't know what they got into. The philosophical merit of the things that happened, particularly in how we addressed the corruption in Everneth, was actually quite profound, and I used a little bit of it when building Hearth policy. I'm going to rank the philosophical merit of the conclusions we can draw about this war all the way up
Probably
in
really
S.
low. Oh, wait, what? Oh, never mind. I thought you was going to put it really low. But you did.
Rational merit of this war. The rational merit of this war is evident. It is a feather in the cap of the literal god, and it restored and normalized relations between Sarfnic and myself, along with a few others. Gamer, I can name one. But realistically, what this war did was it unified two warring forces against the establishment of Everneth by the end of it. Because how the war went was I basically took the fight to Sarfnic. He and his guys were going to gang up on me 4v1 on stream. This was going to be Kaib's downfall, right? He was going to topple Kaib.
Yes,
It was going to be a cataclysmically huge event. And I go to their base and ambush them, and they're trying to open OBS. And Sarfnic's like, fight, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm out
knows
there
a lot. Yeah,
dueling
they were opening
HG
OBS.
Wix. I'm like Sauron swinging my mace back and forth. Partial Kitten goes down. Wix goes down. Sarfnic's bird somehow dies. He's running. He's on fire. Yes, his bow is useless. Promptly kills Cody with my bow. there's just too many great, memorable things in battle tactics from that. I can't rate this as anything less than a Keck on rational merit. Mimetic potential, I shouldn't even have to talk about that. That is also a Keck. My personal approval of how the war ended could have been better because there were some fallout events, particularly with a few individuals and my relationship with the Everneth staff after that. We'll give my personal approval on this. All right, Warcries, you nominated this. Sarfnic, what do you want changed?
Sarfnic wants to look at the personal approval.
Okay.
Does this have anything to do with the aftermath of the war?
Yes.
In many ways, I feel like this war was good because it helped us expose the corruption that lied outside of the war. It was quite hilarious. Our war was not even... It didn't matter in the end. We just ended up coming together as one team, basically. And then we faced the establishment, the gods of the server. And...
Our rebellion, the single best piece of content on Sarfnic's channel, I think, is the only one which he was consistently ratioed in by all of the Everneth sheep. I won't spoil anything for those of you watching this who haven't watched that, but it gets pretty spicy, so I'm swayed by Sarfnic a little bit here. I'll upgrade personal approval to an S. Warcries, your rebuttal.
I just want to say everything should be bold
We have
because
no rebuttal.
I fucking missed this shit, and it's so unfair. I go on a vacation the next day. I'm fucking sick, and the best of war. It's better than the Hearth War happened. For fuck's sakes, fuck off.
Alright, War, to be fair, it was funner, but it wasn't as long. It was kind of fast. And actually,
No,
I had a
for
lot
real,
more fun.
Fuck you guys. I hate you. I hate you. All your fault. But
it's Wick's fault, man.
I would have preferred that over going on a vacation without being sick. Hell.
So here's the funny thing. Wix is like the most peace-loving, banal member of Sarfnic's team and just randomly declared war on us one day.
He was always just snooping around in there.
I'm going to give this an F+. All right, Sarfnic, nominate our next topic to the index.
I have some funny ones in mind. Warcries may know one of them, but I feel like we should take a break from the entities and move into something a bit interesting. Over the Garden Wall. All three of us have watched it. I think it's
Over
time.
the Garden Wall. Sard nominates Over the Garden Wall. Interesting call. Let me go ahead and set the stage. Sard has nominated Over the Garden Wall. Very
Watched it
interesting
like
nomination time
I watched it like
for Sard,
July
I will
of
say.
2018. It's
This
really
was
good.
a
Watch it
CN
again.
show that was... I actually missed Over the Garden Wall when it initially came out. I had to go back and watch this.
Same.
I will say. So this was, I think it was like early or late 2014. I want to say.
Yeah, it aired
so
November
basically-
2014.
This was another McHale one. It's about two brothers who basically are
McHale.
going through this forest wanting to find their route home, more or less. And it's very fitting that one of them is Frodo, because it is voiced by Elijah Wood. This was a strange one. The actual plot, you got Wirt and Greg, who are lost in this place called the Unknown, this forest. This it's almost it's an episodic thing where they find this chick called Adelaide, and they meet a bluebird, or have a bluebird called Beatrice. Okay, so I'll get out of the weeds. The story of Over the Garden Wall. I don't really think I have much to cast the story against. I mean, this story was weird, but I liked it. The story of B. Characters, however, I did quite appreciate, particularly Elijah Wood's voice acting, which will come up later, obviously. I'm going to give the characters an A. Writing and acting. The voice
Those
acting was
visuals
really
better
good.
be a K. They better
The
be a K.
SFX was really good. The writing was appropriate, but I can't really say it was memorable. The reason I can't say it was memorable is because I can't remember any very specific scenes. I give the writing a C because it wasn't good, wasn't bad. I can't remember it though, and I should be able to remember something like this. I almost classified as a guilty pleasure. Visuals were in the art style much resemblance of kind of regular show. Actually, would be the next fitting closest analysis there. I didn't mind the art style at all. The art style was pretty good. Good action. Standard. I don't remember anything special about it. Score and sound design was quite good, particularly the voice acting. But that goes under acting. And for that reason, I'm going to up acting to B. The uniqueness was quite good. There was very little to compare it to. It had definitely more of a dark overtone to it than something like an Adventure Time.
I copied
A little
the
bit more of
I'm
somewhat,
gonna
I would
convince
almost
Art
say, gritty
to-
realism. But
So.
that show was not gritty by any means. We'll say the uniqueness. The refinement. The show got better as it went on. The development process was weird. It had some weird canon tie-ins with old short film that was also written by the creator called Tome of the Unknown. That was part of CN's shorts development program for a while, which I followed rather closely. That was in 2013, I think. Yeah, this is fine. Sarfnic, you nominated this. Warcries, would you have anything changed?
Okay, so I've got to say, Sarf recommended this show to me. It was probably the only good recommendation he's ever actually given me. But just ignoring that, I barely remember the show because it was like 4 years ago. I pretty much agree with everything here. It's a good show. It wasn't extremely good, but it was good.
Sarfnic, what do you have to say?
Alright, so if you look in the Air Warnick Discord, in the case of visuals, I want you to look at that. It has audio, but ignore it. Look at this shit. How can this shit be a B?
Coach and Target. I really did like their animation style, even more than just style per se.
And I'm going to be sending another thing. Can I use the music bot?
And it was
Perhaps
crisp.
to play something?
Send it in Air Warnick. Just send it in Air Warnick.
Okay, I was going to send a song, but... So, one of these you may recognize as... a version of it has become my classic outro. That is in the case of...
Patient is the Night.
I guess
Patient is the Night is a pretty good song. I actually have heard it before. Yeah, okay. I'm actually with both of those. Sarfnic has substantially swayed me on both of those.
Yes! We did it.
Good job, Sard.
Yeah.
I have no other issues, I guess. Yeah, the stories are kind of unmemorable, not gonna lie. Well, that was fun.
Seems to me like this is probably an A-B+ show. I'm gonna go off of what I gave Adventure Time, which was an A+, and therefore I'm gonna give this one an A-. Over the Garden Wall is a good show. Got a little kinks that kind of got rolled out with higher budget types like regular show and Adventure Time when it comes to quality, but I really did like the art style when cast against those other two. Okay, Warcries was not the one to nominate that. Warcries, you can nominate the next topic to be indexed.
This is one I was tempted to do last time, but we did not have enough information as you were still playing. Yeah, you can guess what it is just from that.
Warframe game.
Okay, Warcries nominates Warframe. Warframe.
Yeah, it's been a while since we recorded the last one. You recorded it like...
Up, but you're very late.
What to say about Warframe? What a way to pull off a game that core gameplay loop is like Borderlands 2, but whose overall experience is closer to World of Warcraft. This was a wacky one for me coming into Warframe, and for the record, I came into Warframe very, very late. Warframe was a game made in 2013, and it's effectively free now, but they do have a premium currency. This is the strangest game that I've played that's actually stricken my fancy as of super high quality. Core gameplay is much like any other looter shooter. You can have mission-based areas that you go into that have very specific subtypes. You fight things, you use your abilities, you get the hell out. Simple, engaging, really good. On top of that, you have these open-world cities that look gorgeous, particularly ones like Fortuna, for those of you who get to Venus. The cinematics are gorgeous. They did a cinematic remaster of the entire game. I believe it was in 2016. And the entire game looks gorgeous now. The core gameplay of the game past that is quite nice. I like the idea of juking mods on certain weapons where your weapon type matters more than your sort of moveset in a lot of instances. The moveset is more flavor, where the weapon type, the gunplay, the melee play is way more influential. But it's not shallow like that. Borderlands 2 ended up coming up shallow when it comes to looter shooter types because you have your weapon types, you have your talent tree, and then that's it. That's basically it for Borderlands 2, which is what I would compare the core gameplay loop more directly to. Core gameplay is not my style, but very good. Core gameplay gets an A. Sustainability of Warframe is perhaps one of its better strengths. People will meme this game as a farm frame, and that's because the reward of this game is the farming. It's a game that's successfully managed to make grinding feel not grindy, at least for a lot of things. The lack of mission diversity and the lack of diversity when going to planet is a little noisome. But honestly, I'm gonna give the sustainability of Warframe an S. It could have some higher things at end game that I don't know about. I may well mark Warframe as IC here, but the story of Warframe. The story itself is golden. I love the story. The story on its own would probably be Keck for me. The implementation into the games is a little stretchy. For that reason, I'm going to give this one an S. But I will say the actual overarching lore behind Warframe is more accurate, is wonderful. Spoiler alert for those who haven't and want to play Warframe, of which there are probably no one because it's a free game on Steam and everyone who's probably wanted to try it already has. When a game integrates the fact that you don't get to character create until you're halfway through the game into the lore, you know it's a good game. Or you know at least the lore is strong. The visuals of Warframe when it came out in 2013 were not good. The visuals right now are a kick. I shouldn't have to speak much more on this. Beautiful game. End of story. The score and sound design. Both of these would individually rank incredibly high. I'm going to say that the sound design, while amazing in its own right, all of the sound feels like it has gravity and mass to it. All of the weapons have unique fire sounds. All of the abilities have unique sort of motifs to their sound design. The score knocks it out of the fucking park with this. The score of this game is a keck. And it is enough of a keck to run straight over any qualms I have about sound design. The refinement and development of Warframe initially was rocky. It's a very unrefined game. It's buggy as hell. However, as it's gone on, and this applies to the community as well, community started off uber toxic. Community of this game is nowhere near toxic. My only gripe with the refinement and development of this game is not with its direction, but its speed at which it went at that direction. Well, we'll give this one an A, even though I think it aged quite well, considering it came out in 2013. The community, like I said, it had its bad eggs in the beginning. There are still some cucks in here, particularly the guys that do nothing but PvP. The PvP in this game is AIDS, which is also part of why I put core gameplay down a little bit. Overall, I haven't found much to gripe about with the community. it's nothing special. And I come from games where community was everything, like classic WoW, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna give the community an A for this one. War, you nominated this. Sarfnic, you've not played it. What do you have to say, War?
Yeah.
Warcries.
Q isn't working because I was down.
Q.
So a few things I'd like to mention. So they will be doing a major graphical overhaul very soon, as well as a major tile set overhaul. That may affect your refinement/development, your sustainability. I would argue refinement/development should go up to an S almost, just due to the fact they have so much. Honestly, obviously quality over quantity and all, but that's not to do with refinement/development.
Okay, so there is a good argument.
So much content that they've added.
The Corpus Ship remaster was fantastic.
And the graphical remaster is great so far. Same goes with the tiles that remaster.
I'll tag Warframe as IC, and we may end up updating that later.
I'd also like to
remains it took them long enough.
Yeah, I'd like to mention something, or I'd like to ask you something. How would you regarding the score sound design, Smile from Juron is fucking great with, I'm not sure if you know the specific track or
I do.
the name of it.
I do.
It's fucking great for what it tries portraying. I love that.
Oh yeah. The Second Dream is probably my favorite soundtrack.
Second Dream is probably the best quest, but Sacrifice is way up there as well. Like I'd argue, it's debatable honestly between the two. Sacrifice is fucking K tier easily.
If that's all, I'm gonna give the overall rating of Warframe. This is tough, actually. Let's take a look at what else I've given other games. We only had a couple games in here. SCP Secret Laboratory got an F, and that's the only game we've had in here so far. I'm gonna give Warframe an S-.
Oh. Thank you, better.
I still have a little bit to experience with it. Warframe is a very nice game. Few games have sucked me in as much as that did. I mean, that may have been dampened by the fact that I landed on another game that instantly sucked me in like a week before I tried it, which was, of course, the Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access. But that shouldn't impact that Warframe definitely is some level of S, if not amazing. Okay, Warcries nominated Warframe. Sarfnic, nominate your final topic to be indexed of the night.
Okay, so things are getting a bit. I have a few things in mind, but I think we're gonna go with. I think our first character of a series. We're gonna go with the Skeleton Lord from Oldvale. Pause moment.
The skeleton.
So I think I may have to refresh some memory here, correct? So I'll explain the Skeleton Lord as a character quickly. So the Skeleton Lord was only in the last 2 episodes, or the latest 2 episodes of Oldvale. He was introduced in the middle of a port as an aggressive person at first, who almost killed Sarfnic. But then Sarfnic somehow survived, and this interested the Skeleton Lord. So he made a deal with Sarfnic. They had to stop Beastus, who had kidnapped their friend Camo, basically. I forget what his name was in the series, but basically the Skeleton Lord helped them with the siege, and he left them soon. And they paid him in blood, basically, by sacrificing one of Beastus' last persons. And in the end, the Skeleton Lord sniped Beastus in the head and killed him. And I had some other plans for the Skeleton Lord that could still not happen, so no spoilers for that. But yeah, that is my explanation.
Sarfnic was nominated. The Skeleton. I can't even. Warcries do the voice.
Skeleton Lord. I am the Skeleton Lord.
It sounds nothing like him.
This is one of the longest running and most hilarious memes of Warcries in Hearthland
I can
history.
do it even better.
I know.
I, skeleton lord.
There you go. There, I'm pretty sure that's effectively
When's the Skeleton Lord ASMR coming?
Correct, exactly.
It'll break my voice for like a day, and I won't be able to talk, but I'll do one. Okay,
Okay,
so,
let's get these two out of the way. We talk about the Skeleton Lord constantly. The relevance to the literal god of the Skeleton Lord is Kek.
Can I just
Yes!
say something? Let's just do a goal here. Sarf, give me give a like goal, and I will do let's say
On what?
Skeleton
The
Lord
video,
ASMR 15 minutes
Alright.
or 10 minutes.
15 likes, and Warcries will do a
10
Skeleton
minutes
Lord.
of Skeleton Lord ASMR.
Well, if you're gonna do 10
I
minutes,
don't-
it's gonna be 10 likes.
Okay.
10 likes,
On my channel and Sarf's channel if he desires.
We'll be doing Skeleton
Oh,
Lord
God.
ASMR. Yes.
The Skeleton Lord ASMR. You've heard it here first, folks. Represses visible cringe. The relevance to the literal god of the
One of
Skeleton
these are gonna
Lord
be cringe, Ross.
is Kek. There is no debating this. It is referenced constantly in Era Warnick. It is bled into arenas as far-flung as the Skeld, now known as Saturn's Hexagon. The relevance to the literal god is a Kek. The philosophical merit, the idea behind the Skeleton Lord. Sarf, what were you thinking, Sarf? Like, just qualitatively, for a villain.
I created the idea.
Warcries created the idea.
I
and I
created
found
it,
it
and
funny.
he just went with it.
It's even worse.
Warcries had originally dropped out of Oldvale.
The Skeleton Lord is cringe. The rational merit of having a villain that's like the Skeleton Lord. Listen, it's okay, maybe like a C, but the way that it was implemented, the fucking teleport thing with the crossbow, they couldn't even do a fucking no. The rational merit of how the
Cringe.
Skeleton Lord integrates with the Oldvale survivors, and the rational lore merit for the Skeleton Lord existing in the first place is, I mean, it's better than straight ripping something from Ninjago, but only barely. The rational merit of the Skeleton Lord is an F. Now, I would immediately give the personal approval of the Skeleton Lord a cringe. I have sounded off about the Skeleton Lord in Sarfnic videos before when offering to write additional content for the Oldvale survivors. Yes, that was a thing that happened. However, the Skeleton
Yeah,
Lord
it was
canonically
kinda
does kill Beastest. This is something major, and for this reason I am willing to spare the Skeleton Lord an awful grade on personal approval. Skeleton Lord gets a D on personal approval. Sarfnic, you nominated this. Warcries, what do you have to say in your defense?
Bitch beasts get fucked. Anyways, I am the Skeleton Lord, and I have no issues with this. Oh,
I suppose.
Sard.
So, I would like to mention the personal approval. The Skeleton Lord was a savage, alright? He literally would ally with anyone if they gave him blood. And he was a cold-blooded murderer and a skeleton with no lore behind himself whatsoever.
That
What?
makes me think chaotic neutral vampire villain, not a fucking Skeleton Lord.
And
fuck outta
he
here.
gave zero fucks. And he had the
Thank you,
ability.
Mr.
No, I have
Sarfnic.
to say some more things.
Thank
No,
you, Mr.
no.
Sarfnic. You agreed to these debate rules. Skeleton Lord is good for the occasional laugh
I upload
and
my phone.
potentially ASMR session. We don't know. We're still waiting on Warcries to see if he actually has a talent for that. I will confess
Aramus,
that
I have
I
to
will be
interrupt you
judging
here.
from
Aramus,
positions.
I have to interrupt you here. Remember that I forgot to mention that the Skeleton Lord can cause rain to be halted based on how much blood power he has.
What?
He is magic. Okay? Anyhow.
You're gonna tell me that this guy, who only seeks blood and is willing to join up with anyone for blood, uses it to stop the fucking rain.
No, that's one of his abilities. There are many more. He can
Oh, what's he gonna do?
don't
Shoot
remember.
his awfully animated crossbow?
I
Oh
don't
no!
remember picking that up. That range.
What?
Oh no, I can control the rain. I'm that one guy from Now You See Me. What? Sard. Not helping your own case here.
Okay, fine.
The overall rating for the Skeleton Lord.
I went for
Skeleton Lord
awards
gets a
before.
D. Fucking read it and wink, bitches.
Okay.
Sarfnic nominated the Skeleton Lord. Warcries nominate your final topic to be indexed for the night.
Hope it's an interesting one.
Warcries has nominated Castlevania, the Netflix series. Bravo. Well done.
I watched the
will
series
set
6
the
months
stage
back. It's alright.
forthright.
Like a few weeks ago.
Castlevania.
Yeah.
Perhaps
been
one of
flopped.
my favorite shows of all time. Has an intriguing story based on the whole Konami games. If you don't know the name of Castlevania in gamer history, then you cannot call yourself a gamer. This follows the third game, roughly, storyline, and then takes, in the third season, a whole different lore route that we had no idea that it was going to go down that made it look like anime Game of Thrones. There is nothing that sings to my heart more than an anime Game of Thrones with vampires and witches and a scene where you have two massive battles and two sex scenes going on simultaneously, both of which of the sex scenes include vampires. Okay. That being said, the story of the Castlevania Netflix series, I think, crushes the game. I think they present the story incredibly well. Let me give the story an S. The only reason it's not a Keck is because there are some arcs that kind of fall by the wayside in the third season. I won't give too many lore spoilers, but one of my favorite characters had an arc that I was just kind of displeased with. So, no, they've irked me with that one. The characters. Every single one of those characters, with very limited exception, was memorable. Like every single one. The initial triad party that the story follows for the first two seasons, are incredibly well balanced. I love the whole Alucard, Trevor, Sypha trio. They are fantastic, and more than just them being quantitatively good, they're well voice acted, they're incredibly well animated, they're not overwrought, you don't get a ton of focus on any one of the three, and I identify with a lot of this. The Seven in its initial formation, when it was, three, very much so resembled that trio. I make memes about how I identify with Alucard, but I identify just as much with Trevor and Sypha. All three of these characters are relatable, all are well written. Yes, going to writing and acting. Not even just with the triad. Writing and acting, Keck. Reason the writing and acting is Keck is not only is the quality of the voice acting good, the roster that is in Castlevania is fantastic. Rich Armitage does a fantastic job. Alucard and Sypha, who are not as big names in the acting industry, do fantastic. Graham McTavish as Dracula.
Oh my god, I remember that dude.
Knocks it out of the park. And every other supporting voice actor is rather good as well. The visuals. Everyone calls Castlevania an anime. It is not. It is a Western production. And thus avoids a lot of the shitty anime tropes that happen in relatively okay animes that turn the okay anime into cringe. The visuals are not the best thing about this. They obviously have to pay homage to the games some way, and the visuals in the games and the motifs and the art styles of the games I didn't care for. But this doesn't change the fact that they did really, really well, particularly in the third season with the visuals. Direction of the show. They did season 1. It had 0 funding. It was 2 people in their fucking basement who really liked the Castlevania series. It got picked up in season 2. Everyone thought it was going to be one of those mini-series installments that just ends it then and there, gives it a fantastic finish. And you know what? I think a lot of people would have been satisfied by that. Then, they make a 3rd season and have already announced a 4th that are 10 episodes as opposed to 4 and 7, which those episodes in the 1st and 2nd season respectively were. Nobody had any idea that they would go this direction with it. And the direction was shocking, but the way that they pulled it off
was actually quite sound. It was a pleasant surprise, a breath of fresh air. I think the lowest you can give the direction here is an A, and this is just because I don't particularly know what they're going to do with the remaining arcs that were set up in Season 3. It's a little bit mysterious. The score and sound design. Sound design, standard anime tier sound design. But the score.
You
Score?
for
I may well give it a Keck. I'm very tempted to give it an S. Yeah, we're gonna give it an S. Reason Castlevania gets an S is because the remaster of Bloody Tears. Not only that, the ambient soundtrack is fucking amazing. There are two very specific scenes where I remember the ambient soundtrack from. It takes a good fucking scene and a good fucking ambient soundtrack for me to remember an ambient soundtrack. Those scenes are in Season 2, Episode 3, Old Homes, or I forget which one that's called actually. The one where they are approaching the Belmont estate and Trevor is reminiscing about his childhood to his two companions in the wagon. That one I remember. And the second is where Alucard is introduced, Season 1, Episode 4. That score was beautiful, including the fight score after. God damn it, I'm tempted to give that a Keck just because of those. Let's see. What other... I can name like 3 other places where the score... God damn. The score and sound design are really, really good. I am going to give it a Keck just because the fact that I can remember like 8 instances of the score that aren't using the score as the showpiece is incredible. I think perhaps the best that I've seen in years. Uniqueness. Okay, so it falls for some of the traditional fantasy anime tropes at first. It was clear that it was trying to reach out to that audience. They fucking cast that by the wayside in Season 2+. Very good. The uniqueness. Overall, Castlevania was a pillar of the game lores at the time. It was part of the video game wars. It had a great part to play in the downfall of Atari. The uniqueness Castlevania brings as a Netflix series. No one asked for it, and it was still good. I'm going to give this an S. Refinement. Season 1 suffered frame rate issues, like everything developed by 2 people with no funding in a basement does. Greatly improved to Season 2. And I didn't really see as big a jump between Season 2 and Season 3 as I would have liked. We'll go ahead and give the polish and refinement this show endured an A. Warcries, I believe you nominated this. Sarfnic, what are your opinions?
As you may know, Sarfnic has watched most of Season 2. That's how far through I am. Haven't really been watching it recently. I'm probably going to continue it soon, though. Sarfnic agrees with everything. I think I have no objections to anything. I will admit, I did find it a bit more cringe than you probably did, but I don't think that's going to change anything, though.
It's not your genre, man. I get it. Warcries.
Okay, so it was just about one.
Certainly not better than Ninjago.
Sort of off topic. I was about to start a almost today. I didn't end up doing it today. Probably would have if this didn't happen. I was going to do a rewatch of the entire series.
I was too.
So, anyways, I have no real objections other than the fact that, well, no, this isn't an objection, but the fact that Sard hasn't finished the entire series is a crime, and he should get his, all his, let's just go to rational. Let's just bring his rationale down to a bold C for being a dumbass, not finishing this.
That's not possible, is it?
Perhaps. We can go back and edit Eisen Index entries.
No.
But it has to be on its own thing. There will be editing sessions for the Eisen Index, likely with guests if they have any disagreements and think they can sway the literal gods.
Yeah. Dang, it's
So for their argument, I'm going to give Castlevania S+. This is about as close to a Keck item as we have come, ladies and gentlemen. The question is it actually a Keck item? Let me go back and review all of these. It is so close as to need a recount.
It's the vote, man.
Georgia moment.
What was I thinking with the refinement? The initial quality of Season 1? Here's the thing. That's not important enough to drag as good of what Castlevania became into anything less. The direction.
So tense, dude.
Maybe I didn't like the pace change from Season 2 to Season 3, but thinking back on it, I'll review that way. God damn, this is hard. My hand hovers over the Keck. For memorability alone, I am going to grant Castlevania the Netflix series a Keck.
Nice.
I think you knew this was coming.
Some thunder's coming by.
The more I think about it, the more I was just trying to keep myself honest here. I fucking love Castlevania. It is probably my favorite animated series to date. That's actually a little bit of a stretch. You may encounter the one that I think could compete with it in here if we get to that far down. But, yep, Castlevania is a Keck. Castlevania is a Keck.
I think that's a good thing to end this off on, right? I have
Agreed.
Alright, let's see if the ASMR happens. Remember, 10 likes on this video, not the stream, the video, whenever this is coming out. And we will see the Skeleton Lord ASMR.